Welcome to the Recruitment People podcast, the place where employers and candidates unite to uncover the art of successful recruitment. Hi, I'm Kelly Charity, a recruiter and agency owner with over 2 decades of recruitment experience. In this podcast series, I'm going to dive deep into the heart of hiring and job seeking, sharing actionable insights, expert advice, and of course, a little bit of fun along the way. Whether you're looking to sharpen your hiring practices or navigate your career path, we've got you covered. So let's get started and unlock the secrets to recruitment success together. Welcome to the Recruitment People podcast, episode 21. I'm Kelly Charity, and today we're going to be diving into a big question. What does good recruitment really look like? Recruitment is generally a quick process, or often seen as a quick process. Post an advert, go through the resumes, do some interviews and make a job offer, right? Sounds simple. Look, that's why many hires fail. If one key step is missing in a recruitment process, then it can put the entire process at risk. So today we're going to walk through why recruitment fails and share 5 key elements that you should know as an employer to set your business up for success in your own recruitment. So one of the first reasons why a recruitment process would fail is that there's no strategy. If there's no strategy, you are really setting yourself up to fall. A strategy isn't let's throw a job advert up there and let's see what the response is. So you must have a strategy in terms of why are we hiring, what does that need to look like, what is it that we need. When you get your resumes come through, snap CV decisions. So you just look at the resume, it's a yes, it's a no, let's get them in or let's not get them in, yes, no, yes, no. You need to look for, you need to read between the lines of resumes and maybe just make a call to somebody that maybe is fitting the bill a little, but not ticking all of your boxes. There are transferable skills that need to be looked at. Another one of the reasons, some of the pitfalls to think about with recruitment fails is the interview process. If you're talking too much in the interview as an employer, you're probably getting the interview wrong. A lot of interviewers and employers think that if somebody's applied for the job, it must be because they want the job and they can do the job and they've got the skills to do the job. A lot of people apply for jobs because they need the money. It's not their dream job, it's not what they want to do, but they throw in some resumes out there and hoping one sticks. So, if you're talking too much and saying, this is the job, this is what we require of you, and the new potential employees nodding, yes, that's me, that's not an interview. They're just agreeing to everything you've just said to get the job. They get the job, they then fail. Why? Because you didn't check, you didn't ask them about their skill set. So it's really important to make sure you have a structured interview. Also ignoring passive candidates. So throwing an advert out and hoping you get some resume responses and going to interview, you're sort of missing a huge pool of talent by not going to the passive job market. Anyone can use LinkedIn now to go and source candidates, go and reach out to some people that you like the look of. That is adding to your talent pool of people applying through advertising. I know it takes time, but it is increasing your availability for top talent. If you don't do reference checks, you're setting yourself up to fall. I know lots of people say, as if somebody's going to give a bad referee for us to contact. You would be surprised. When you get that reference on the phone and start talking to them and asking them questions, you can hear the tone in their voice that this person is not quite what you think they are. So even though they may not give a bad reference, you can hear an underlying tone. So, if you're not doing reference checks, then you really are potentially setting up your process to fail. And also, if you haven't planned for onboarding, so you've made your hire, they're great, fabulous, going to fit into the team wonderfully, and on day one they arrive, you put them in front of the desk and say, right, there you go, off you go, get on with your job. You're probably setting them up to fail. They need to be onboarded correctly. They need to know where things are. They need to know who to turn to if there's an issue. They need to understand the business. The onboarding process is a crucial part in the success in making a successful hire and making sure that they're retained. So So there's a few pointers in terms of recruitment first. So how can you fix it? So we're going to just deep dive into five key points and 5 steps as to making your recruitment a little bit more successful. So when you're looking at starting your recruitment process, you need to look at why. Why are you hiring? What is the role? What is the purpose of the role? And what are the tasks that are going to be involved in the role and the soft skills that you require? It's not a case of Jane's gone, let's replace Jane. Okay, let's throw an advert up. You need to think about things. Maybe you can alter the skill set that Jane had to get somebody else in that sort of aligns with the business and where it's going in the future. So you get somebody with a slightly different skill set that match other things that the business needs. And if you don't sit down and strategize what that looks like, you literally will replace Jane, like for like, or maybe not, depending on how it goes. So by strategizing, you can then come up with a clear job description. So again, you may just use the same job description you've previously had, but go through it, think about it, think, is this what we still need now that this role has become vacant, or is this something else you might need? And looking at the role purpose, the tasks, and the soft skills that you will need for that role and talking about them will allow you to then create that job description accordingly. The job description also allows you to pull together the objectives of the role. And without objectives, obviously people don't know what they are required to achieve in that position, and so there's less engagement, they don't know what they're doing, they don't know why they're doing it, and so there's just a complete mismatch in terms of being successful in that role. So then once you've got your job your job description, you can write out your job advert. One of the key things that you need in the job advert is your employee value proposition. So why would an employee come and work for you? So if somebody's reading your advert and they're reading another competitor's advert, is there anything compelling in your advert that will pull that person to your organization? What is it that you're offering your staff? Do you have employee benefits such as gym membership, or benefits such as you get your birthday day off, or they have an employee assistance program that you offer people to make sure they're supported in the workplace in terms of stress and any matters that happen that they may need to reach out to an assistance program for support. What sort of training do you offer? All of these things are quite important to put into your advert, because people are looking for those things. So if there's no attraction to come and work for you, why would somebody apply for your role? Structuring your interview, that's a key thing to think about in terms of, like I said earlier, if you're just chatting away, quick chat, that's your interview technique. That is not a technique. That is going on a bit of gut instinct and seeing if you connect with that person. That's not a way to a successful interview and a successful hire. So, you need to make sure that your interviews are set out in a structured way. So, for example, if your job description says you need somebody that can communicate effectively, you turn that job description bullet point into a question. So, tell me about what you think effective communication is, and so on. So, you're asking specific questions for that candidate to demonstrate to you their experience and skills to align with what it is that you need. If you're talking too much in the interview and you're not asking questions, that is not an interview. So you need to really think about how you're approaching your interviews. And also describing the job and saying, is that you, is not conducive to a successful hire. So be consistent in your questions, obviously. And finally, onboarding. Like I said earlier, without an onboarding program, you're really going to fail in terms of bringing this person into your organization to be successful. So you need to to outline the KPIs, the objectives, and new employees need clarity from day one as to what this job looks like, what is expected of them, where to go for certain things, who to approach for certain things. Maybe there's a mentor that they can sit with for a few days to make sure they're on board, etc., etc. So without that onboarding plan, you really are missing a key piece in that recruitment process. Moving on from the hire, once that person is onboarded and successfully settling in, you need to remind your managers that they need to be doing performance reviews. Performance reviews aren't to performance manage. Performance reviews are also to give your employees really good feedback because they're doing a really good job. And employees like to hear good feedback. So if you're not doing those things, again, you're at risk of losing that person because they're disengaged, they don't know where they're at, they don't know what's the point of this, no one ever says thank you, no one says I'm doing a good job. A quick one-to-one, once a month, once a quarter even, can go a long way to retaining that person. So look, in terms of the recruitment people, we're here, we can do job adverts, we can write job adverts for you, we can write job descriptions for you, we can attend the interviews with you. We don't have to do the entire recruitment process. If you feel like you are struggling in some areas of your recruitment process or just don't have one and need some support, please reach out, have a chat with us. We can help in different ways without just going through an entire or engaging us for the full recruitment process. So I hope that helps, and I look forward to seeing you on our next podcast. Thank you very much for joining.